Today, I'm going to be trying to guess which Call of Duty Zombies game actually made you quit, and or if you didn't quit, you took a long break. Now, I must say there's a moment in my life where I totally gave up on Call of Duty Zombies, but I found myself back into the game because it's just a fantastic mode overall. And let's face it, at one point in time, Treyarch was pulling massive numbers of players playing Call of Duty Zombies, and you know, that's a feat and accomplishment that hasn't been seen in a hot minute. Literally millions of people were hooked to the simplicity of this game mode, but today, let's break down which map or game specifically made you break. And if you never broke away from COD Zombies, well, you're an absolute G, and I just got to give mad respect to you. Okay, first let's actually swing it back all the way to years 2008 and 2009 with Call of Duty World at War. There's likely two reasons why you actually quit Zombies after World at War, and one was simple, that you thought Der Riese was the pinnacle of COD Zombies, which, to be fair, literally World at War had the basics of what COD Zombies was. You had perks, you had a pack-a-punch in Der Riese, and pretty much mod tools for whatever map you wanted to create. Majority of people who quit Zombies after World at War were definitely dedicated on this mode, but at the end of the day, they'd probably rather play something else like multiplayer. To the people who quit during World at War, they saw Zombies as just a simple side mode and nothing more, and they didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. Maybe there were some aspects of the gameplay that they really enjoyed, but at the end of the day, they thought they could be playing other cool games out there, well, like Halo 3. The next game is Black Ops 1. Now, Black Ops 1 Zombies was by far one of the most trailblazing and invigorating COD Zombies games ever. BO1 was a very exciting type for COD Zombies, as it really launched this whole new wave of hysteria and mystery that players could really just identify while playing the game. While Kino der Toten and 5 were absolutely groundbreaking staples to COD Zombies, kind of the newer DLC is where, you know, eventually players were kind of lost. You see, there's actually a few reasons why people actually gave up during or after Black Ops 1, but let's actually get up to the things that made people quit in Black Ops 1. First and foremost, this was really during the time of the console war, and if you had the Xbox, you were actually living up in the world because you received all of the DLCs first, while PlayStation actually had to wait a month. And on top of that, you were actually paying about $15 per month just to play one DLC map. So if you wanted to play Ascension, Call of the Dead, Shangri-La, and Moon, you actually had to buy the DLC, so that's $15 per map. And I mean, this is no stranger to only this game because this happens in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and even in Black Ops 4. But if I were to dive into the nitty-gritty gameplay features, you could actually make the argument that in Ascension, they actually started implementing Easter egg steps, and you know, some people just didn't really want to do that. They just wanted to survive and, you know, get to high rounds. While not necessarily Easter eggs didn't completely hinder and destroy the gameplay aspects of COD Zombies, it was just a fun side mode where if you wanted to go the extra mile, you definitely could. But there were some people within the community that thought there was massive change within the perk system, as you know, they introduced Stamina Up and PhD Flopper, which once again, I know, fantastic implementations, but you know, some people just don't like change. The classic 4 perks were the staple of the COD Zombies community and just gameplay overall, and you know, some people really, like I said, do not like change, and that's actually going to become a reoccurring theme throughout this video. If you were someone who actually left Call of Duty during the map Call of the Dead's release, which is, you know, arguably one of the best Zombies maps of all time, it's probably just because you didn't want to be followed around by George Romero. But honestly, who the heck cares? That map's fantastic. And then there was Shangri-La, which, you know, kind of a hard and challenging map, and it definitely doesn't get the player attention that Call of the Dead, Ascension, Kino, or 5 got, but it was just kind of there, and you know, people just kind of vibed with it in some way, shape, or form. Honestly, the map was not that popular, but you know, I love it anyway because I'm a classic COD Zombies nut. And then we were dropped with the holy grail that was Moon and the Resurrection DLC, which came with Moon and also the 4 original classic COD Zombies maps from World at War. So in reality, if you quit at the end of Black Ops 1 after blowing up the Earth, then I don't know, like literally Black Ops 1 and the ending was pretty much the golden era of COD Zombies because you had Easter eggs coming full-fledged with gameplay, and maybe that turned you off, and that's probably why you left. Or maybe the Easter egg just absolutely turned you off with trying to pull Gershas and QEDs and then wave gun all out of the box at the same time, so you probably left because of RNG purposes. So a quick recap, if you actually survived through World at War and Black Ops 1, you're an OG. But if you are still standing, well, let's see here. Let's go to Black Ops 2. Now, Black Ops 2 actually was riding the high off of Black Ops 1 because let's face it, that game was freaking awesome. But on contrast, the launch of BO2, well, it was kind of mixed opinions. Transit was one of the biggest Zombies maps we've ever had in the history of COD Zombies, at the time being, and it was just really innovative. We had buildables, multiple POIs, and you could actually play Grief and Turned, which was absolutely fantastic invention. Like, why do they still not have those game modes back today? Seriously, drop a W in the comment section down below for Grief, and there's a Grief tournament coming up, by the way, for COD Zombies YouTubers, so check that out on Saturday, May 11th. 11th. But getting off my rant with this one, Transit was plagued with a lot of crazy features, such as the bus leaving you, having to run through the fog, the denizens, the fire, there was just a lot going on with Transit, okay? And this is honestly when my friend group actually started leaving COD Zombies and they went to play other games. So you know what? If you exited COD Zombies at this time during Transit, I don't really blame you, but I mean, COD Zombies actually has a boost coming up in the future. Then after that, we honestly hit like the Great Depression of COD Zombies because Transit and Nuketown weren't really cutting it. And then we got Die Rise, which, you know, Die Rise was just Die Rise. Like, some people liked it, some people didn't like it. It gets a lot of flack. At the end of the day, it's a stain dust, okay? But honestly, the saving grace of COD Zombies came from Mob of the Dead, Buried, and Origins, and it brought a lot of people back. So if you actually quit during Mob, Buried, and Origins, oh man, that was an era to be in COD Zombies. I could actually understand you leaving the game with the first 3 maps of Transit through Die Rise, but if you left during the Mob of the Dead Origins phase, maybe you're someone who just doesn't really like storyline and the gameplay just kind of felt repetitive to you. Also, Afterlife on Mob can maybe be kind of confusing, and Origins is just a powerhouse of a map, so maybe you just didn't like the over-the-top gameplay features. I don't know, guys, I'm trying to be as empathetic as possible here. But needless to say, if you left during the first 3 maps of BO2, I understand. If you left during Mob and Origins and all that stuff, I kind of also understand too, even though I absolutely love those maps, and BO2 is one of my favorite games of all time. In reality, I would not be doing justice to COD Ghosts because of Extinction Mode and Exo Zombies from Advanced Warfare. In a nutshell, these games actually filled the 2-year gap from Treyarch to actually develop a COD Zombies game, so both of these survival modes were actually a great change of pace. I will say, as much as I enjoyed these games and they were a breath of fresh air to have in between that waiting period for the next Treyarch COD Zombies game to hit, I know a lot of people actually gave criticism to these modes back in the day because it wasn't Treyarch, but in all reality, I think that's kind of naive, and whatever games come out, like, I think you should totally test them. At least back in the day, like Extinction Mode and Exo Zombies, like, these modes are actually looked back as gems nowadays, but back in the day when they released, I don't know, I mean, there was kind of mixed opinions about them. It was clearly obvious that they weren't gems like what Treyarch was producing, but at the same time, they were just nice filler content games to just play and have fun with. If you were on the bandwagon of thinking the Zombies franchises were kind of over for COD, well, I mean, just be patient because guess what game was going to come out? All right, next up we have Black Ops 3. Now, Black Ops 3 is arguably one of the most popular games for COD Zombies of all time, and it does show in the data, the numbers, and the statistics with it. Literally, this is just a data sample from my channel, and it really kind of shows a small population. And let's face it, this sample size actually represents kind of the bigger population overall with the popularity of BO3, but at the end of the day, like, it just pulled a lot of numbers because BO3 was BO3. Some people actually did quit during Black Ops 3, and especially maybe during Shadows of Evil. Literally during 2015, we were drooling over the word innovation. If a game was critiqued, it was, oh man, it just needs to be more innovative. Like, why can't we just innovate so many new things and features? Whatever popped in our brain, let's throw it into the game. Innovation was such a big buzzword at the time, and it just kind of annoyed me a little bit. But going back off that buzzword, yeah, Shadows of Evil was really innovative, and it brought 2 things that really kind of changed COD Zombies and made it different, I guess. If you end up packing your bags on Shadows of Evil, I completely understand because it was really surrounded with a lot of octopus and apothecon lore, and you know what? Sometimes that really did turn people off. Classic things like the mystery box changed to like an apothecon lore box, which honestly though, like in my opinion, like this is an actual doctor opinion, like I loved all the changes that came with Shadows. I thought it was a fantastic map, but some people just didn't like it. Zombies had almost become unrecognizable with these changes, and on top of that, the implementation of gobblegums really threw the game through a spin. All your most favorite COD Zombies YouTubers were literally popping perkaholics and just easily breezing through the Easter eggs because, you know, that feature was in the game. We had a massive pay-to-win system where you could literally open up 1,000 liquid diviniums and just get every kind of perkaholic known to mankind, and on top of that, if you actually dashboarded, you could keep all the gobblegums that you used that were really overpowered and broken. So if you actually left during Shadows, yep, I kind of understand why. Alongside of Shadows of Evil, we had the launch of The Giant, which was simply Derice Remastered. If you quit Zombies because of The Giant, it's probably just because you didn't want to see remasters and you thought they were lazy, but I think that argument's kind of flawed because we just had Shadows of Evil, which was one of the most unique experiences that Zombies has ever offered, so kind of weird. But let's get into something juicy and talk about the DLC of BO3. The BO3 cycle was actually really strong when it came to the DLC, and I mean, it really did show. Der Eisendrache pulled absolute insane numbers when it came to just viewing of the map and watching Easter egg guides and all that stuff, because we finally had a big boss fight and it generated a lot of players to the game. So in reality, if you actually quit during Dreisendraha, I don't know, maybe it's because you didn't like the bows and you thought it was kind of a copycat map of like Origins and somewhat of Mob of the Dead in some way, shape, or form with the dragon heads, but man, I don't know, you're telling me. Maybe the Panzer freaked you out, I have no idea. Dreisendraha, fantastic. But I gotta say that this might be an area where people maybe started falling off BO3's life cycle as we had the release of Zetsubo no Shima. If you actually jump back into a time machine and go back to the release of Zets, it was kind of a long and anticipated wait because we really hadn't had DLC in a hot minute, and even the gap from Zets to Gorod felt like an eternity also. Honestly, with every COD Zombies DLC cycle, it just feels like the longest wait in the world for a map pack to come out, and oh man, I yearned for COD Zombies content when that was happening. But in all honesty, Zets, not really the best zombies map in the world. Like, it was there and it was decent and had all the features with BO3, but the map itself was really extra tedious and just overbearing on players. And to be completely fair and transparent with you, it was at this time as a COD Zombies player on the Xbox that I was kind of getting a little flustered because the table actually had switched. PlayStation was actually getting the DLCs first and Xbox was actually getting the DLCs second because the whole Sony agreement, and they kind of dismantled that, and so PlayStation would always get it first. And by it, I mean the map packs. In all reality, I can really empathize with PlayStation players because, you know, literally it was kind of the goated console to be on Xbox at the time, from World at War all the way to BO2, because we got the DLCs first, but then PlayStation got it for Black Ops 3 and on. And to be fair, things really started setting in hard for me because once when Go Ride Crovy hit, it was like, oh, I mean, the Easter eggs are already going to be solved and like literally everything's going to be explored. So it honestly did kind of turn me off a little bit. And if you were a story follower of BO3, it was at the point where we got the introduction of Dr. Monty in Go Ride Crovy, and things really started kind of changing for, you know, a different wagon, I would say. Finally, we were given Revelations to end the DLC cycle for Black Ops 3. And if I'm being honest, Revelations was just a simple recap of everything that's happened to us since World at War, but with the Black Ops 3 features and gobblegums. We got one of the most infamous Easter egg steps of all time, which was sucking the bones up with the Apothecon Servant, and I just gotta say that that Easter egg step was brutal. It was literally unsolvable for like days. So if you were an Easter egg hunter and you left because of Revelations, I get it. But I think it's actually important to recap the whole DLC cycle for Black Ops 3 and find reasons why people quit. Maybe it was due to excessive gobblegum implementation, perhaps the storyline just got a little repetitive with just collecting one person's soul, sending it up, and just keeping doing that process over and over again. Something that I forgot to mention about Origins, and it even falls into the same line of the Revelations, is people just get frustrated with the endings of COD Zombies and how things go down. People didn't really enjoy the fact that COD Zombies was just a simple like child's game at BO2, which, you know, kind of got disproven in BO3 and got retconned, but at the end of BO3 our characters just simply get faded away. Basically the Shadow Man gets completely downplayed because apparently Monty is the overall bad guy and we have to spend the whole next game just like chasing him down. So yeah, that's kind of BO3 in a nutshell. And wait, there is more. We actually have, you know, kind of the opposite. We have a massive flight of players heading to BO3 because of Zombie Chronicles. At this point in time, the life cycle of BO3 was completely dead, but you know, Jason Blundell decided, hey, let's do Zombie Chronicles and remaster all of the classic COD Zombies maps that we can and throw them into a DLC for people. Literally the best decision ever. While doing the exact opposite of what this video is saying, Zombie Chronicles pretty much just reinvigorated zombies as a whole. If you were actually the rare anomaly to quit during Zombie Chronicles because you didn't enjoy Zombie Chronicles, you are a rare anomaly and I want to study you for my doctoral program, like no lie. But in reality, you were no anomaly, and actually pretty much like a lot of people if you quit the game during Black Ops 4 and gave up on zombies. Now there's a lot of things out there about Black Ops 4, how it killed zombies, how half the population left, and it was just like the knife in your heart. Well, guess what? Let's dive into the nitty-gritties of why. It is simply put, you left COD Zombies in Black Ops 4 for a multitude of reasons. It could have been the fact that the game was broken at launch. Maybe you didn't like the perks and the HUDs. Maybe you thought everything was just over the top. There was Ether competing with Chaos. There was a lot of things that were happening within Black Ops 4 that made people want to just leave. Personally, I actually waited a month after Black Ops 1 came out when I bought it because, you know, I was away from my console and I wasn't playing at the time. And let's be real, if you were not enjoying Black Ops 4 at the time, you were either enjoying Fortnite or Red Dead Redemption 2 because literally those games were golden at their peaks. I was having so much fun getting to the final circle in Tilted Tower that really I forgot about Black Ops 4, all its bugs, all its issues, all its controversy, whatever it was, and I just enjoyed some Fortnite at the time. So if you left and packed up your bags at Black Ops 4, you know, you're definitely not alone. Nowadays, I gotta say, if I'm playing Black Ops 4, I'm actually pretty happy with it considering what we have today. So you know what? Cool. Black Ops 4 Zombies. I enjoy it nowadays. In the meantime, if you wanted to as an extra COD Zombies mode, you could play World War II Zombies or IW Zombies. So if you quit Zombies at this time, maybe you were a hardcore Treyarch fanboy and you just didn't want to see the success of other studios. So you know what? Once again, you packed your bags and went to a different game. Cold War was one of those games for Zombies where people just kind of vibed with it because we hadn't had a legit Treyarch game in a hot minute. So you know what? People were going to play it regardless. Upon hopping into Cold War, there's a lot of things that were obviously changed for Zombies, and it didn't really feel like classic COD Zombies, but it awkwardly did. Like it was a weird vibe. It was extremely obvious that the game was considerably running on a lot of the assets for Warzone, and literally Zombies was directly impacted by that because we literally had salvage, and Fortnite's little rarity system was impacted by the guns, and you saw literally a common gun all the way up to a gold tier level gun, which was definitely awkward. And honestly, they had salvage and armor, and if you were not a fan of those systems, you were definitely packing your bags and you were out. And if the launch of Cold War didn't get you, then probably the DLC cycle did, because well, the plus was that map packs were free nowadays, but at the same time, you know, Firebase Z all the way through Forsaken were, they were just enough to satisfy you kind of. If you've stuck around COD Zombies long enough, you know that you're probably dedicated to the game mode, which, you know, I could imagine, even though there were some newer players to jump in through Cold War, a lot of the hardcore Zombies fans were pretty much burnt out with the fact that, you know, their beloved characters were gone, replaced with operators, and the storyline was just bland, and you were kind of just getting talked at by characters. So you know what? It wasn't a fun experience for some people. Once again, if you left after Cold War, yep, I don't blame you. Next up, we have COD Vanguard. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies actually launched in the fall of 2023, and I gotta say that, you know, this mode actually was pretty decent in the beginning. This game had a bunch of hate associated with it because one, the mode was timed, and two, it just was an open world kind of copycat off of Warzone. So you know what? There you go. I'm gonna echo exactly what I said at the end of Call of Duty Cold War, and that is, if you've left during Modern Warfare 3, I totally don't blame you. And a lot of people who are playing it now are really hardcore dedicated fans, and I applaud them. I know I'm not the only COD Zombies YouTuber within the community that wants things to be reverted to the way they used to be. I mean, let's face it, literally everybody wants that. Everybody wants that with every game. Like, come on, I know I'm not the only one with this, and literally that's just the way video games work. But in all reality, when did you quit playing COD Zombies? Or if you haven't quit and you've taken a break, when was the break that you took and why did you take it? I mean, I kind of want to read about it in the comment section down below. And by kinda, I totally do. I can't thank you all enough. Within nearly 6 months, I was able to get to 2,500 subscribers on this channel. So you know what? We are pushing 3K. Help me out. That would be greatly appreciated. And as usual, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.